he's born to be our found your knees. Oh, yeah, the angel voices. Oh, night divine, when Christ was born. Oh, night divine, when Christ was born.
Hi, I'm Jen Amaya, and I'm here to give you your insight talk. Hopefully I give you some insight in 5 minutes or less. And it goes a little something like this. It's Tuesday, and I'm sitting in my living room and feeling a little blue, and my phone starts quacking at me. And I answer the phone, and I say, "Who's this?" And she says, "It's Mama Rev, Reverend Susan." And she's like, "How are you?" And I said, "I'm okay." No, I'm not okay. I'm really not okay. I'm not doing well right now. And she talks to me a lot, and she makes me feel better in the way that she always does. And, you know, I try to throw in something positive. I'm like, but I've got my running shoes on. I've got my running clothes on. I've got my running hat, my running mittens. I haven't actually gone running yet, but I'm making it welcome, right? Right? Okay. So we talk a little bit more, and then she says, "Well, honey, the original reason I'm calling you today is we have a request from Papa Rev, David, and we're wondering if you will do the Insight Talk this weekend. Sorry, it's kind of last minute." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I'm really not doing well right now. Like, what am I going to talk about?" And she said, "Just talk about what you're grateful for." And I can't think of anything at that moment. And David's in the background going, "Just say yes." And I'm like, this is the worst possible timing. And she said, "It's the perfect timing," which of course I knew she was going to say. Okay, so I said yes, and I hung up the phone. And here's just a taste of what's going on in my mind at this point. Oh my God. I'm so depressed. I'm so ashamed. I'm hungry. I'm empty. I'm lost. I'm embarrassed. I'm sisterless. I'm angry. I'm sad. What am I grateful for? I don't want to sound fake or lame or, "Oh my God, am I thinking too much? Am I thinking too much? Oh my God, I'm thinking too much." I think Reverend David would say, "You're thinking too much." And then the scariest one of all, sounds funny at first. What am I going to wear? Because I don't feel beautiful in anything right now. But it gets better. And what I've learned from being here, I was divinely dragged, if you will, here 7 years ago. And what I've learned that even through all this dark stuff and sadness, I can always think of at least a couple of things that I'm grateful for. And I always have to remind myself that it's always the most painful right up until the very last second, until it's not anymore. And so on the Friday afternoon after that, woke up blue, laying in bed with my cat. I'm like, I ain't getting out of bed today. And wouldn't you know it, my sweet little shift, that's what I call it, in the form of Alex Boer Kading, my beloved son, walks in the door and he's screaming at me, "You got to get out of bed, Jen. You have to see what I'm wearing to the concert." So he dragged me out of bed and he gave me a bunch of hugs. I told him I wasn't doing well and he knew what I was talking about. And I told him I loved him and he told me he loved me too. And that's when everything just fell into place. So, with that being said, in this beautiful moment, right here, right now, I am grateful for the following. Falling madly, truly, deeply in love with a cat named Tony. And for those of you who don't know me, I hate cats. Anyways, my chosen family of mamas, papas, sisters, brothers, babies. There will never be enough time to express how much I love you all to pieces. My beloved Kimmy, I want to love me as much as you do. I want to be alive. If our love were a yearbook, you'd get best all around. I love you, Curly Sue. For God's gift of a singing voice, to be able to sing here, to know that it's just me and God up here singing. To Donnie Renz for force feeding candy I didn't even want into my mouth. Here, eat it. We bought it at Powell's. Forcing Kimmy and I to watch numerous episodes of Family Feud and Baggage. I'm grateful for Maybelline Great Lash Mascara, especially the waterproof kind. I'm grateful for prednisone, cough syrup with codeine, azithromycin, Earth Balance, vegan aged cheddar popcorn, Dave Grohl, my dad, Motown R&B, classic soul, my mommy, the sunshine, Lululemon pants, wherein you will find any butt is a great butt. Silk Nog, blue-green algae, grande soy lattes with a perfectly foam. I'm alive. Kale, trees, flowers, my faith, my heart, colors, Celeste and Roman. I can see, I can hear, I can feel, I can taste rock and roll. I can run. And in the brilliant words of Maynard James Keenan from the band Tool, recognize this as a holy gift and celebrate this chance to be alive and breathing. Thank you.
One doesn't really need to sermonize after that, does one? I'm so happy today. First off, when Roman and Celeste are up here together, time is altered. Does anybody else have that experience? Do you actually have to stop and think, wait a minute, that's coming out of a human? It's stunning. And then there's Celeste. One of our mentors is Reverend Dr. Edward Fuljoun, and he happens to be from South Africa. And one of his mentors, never in person but in spirit, was Nelson Mandela. And the world is grieving the loss of Nelson Mandela today, and I could speak about him forever and still not say enough. But there's something about Nelson Mandela that I carry with me every day of my life. I think about something that he said such that it has altered the way I view my world. When Nelson Mandela was freed from prison after having been imprisoned for life, but was released after 27 years, and there were various charges, but it really boiled down to this. He was imprisoned for demanding a colorblind South Africa. He was imprisoned for demanding a colorblind South Africa. When he was released, he said to the world that thing that I carry with me. He said, "As I walk out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew that if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison." Also, the whole nation of South Africa was preparing itself for civil war when he was released, because they knew it would happen, not unlike Rodney King in Los Angeles. They knew that there would be riots. except Nelson Mandela had the power to alter what would happen by use of word. He said when he came out, among the first things he said was, "I forgive my captors," thereby diffusing any war that was about to be battled, because no one could fight for a man who no longer had within him a fight. So the world does mourn, but at the same time the world, should it take his cue, the world will be altered still, because maybe, like me, you'll carry the man that was Nelson Mandela. I might ask myself, well, really, what's going on in my world? I haven't been imprisoned for 27 years, and when I really think about it, no. Sometimes I've been imprisoned for 48 years. I've been imprisoned in the cell of my own making. You know, maybe you're in some sort of a prison, the prison of whatever is yours. I had an experience of prison yesterday. Several, in fact. I do every day, but sometimes I don't notice it. Sometimes I just think it is the world and not just my crazy making. The room got very quiet. Either I cut you out or I'm the only one. I'm thinking I'm not the only one. So on Thursday night, Mauricio and I flew to Guadalajara, and I went for a quick 36-hour turnaround, because yesterday was my father-in-law's 90th birthday, and there was a 90th birthday party. And a birthday party for a 90-year-old in Mexico is not like anything you've ever experienced. It starts with a mass led by the Catholic priest brother of Mauricio. It was surreal. It was a surreal day. Anyway, I had a plan, see? I knew that it was going to work out. I was going to land last night at 11:50 p.m. at Oakland International Airport. It takes about 47 minutes to get through customs, get your bag, and get to the car, get in the cab, and another 12 minutes to get home. After which, I would go upstairs to the second floor. I would be able to do whatever I had to do to get ready for today. But I already lay out my suit and my clothes and everything before I even leave. Some of you wonder, well, when do you sleep? Well, I got it all planned. I got it planned out. So my plan was I was going to sleep for about 5 hours. Now, some of you also will worry, that's not enough time. You really need to manage your life better, David. You may want to rethink this. But I got to tell you, every Sunday for me is like Christmas, which makes Saturday night near impossible for sleeping. Okay, so 5 hours. 5 hours is like being forced. But any less than that, and then I'm in that prison, because the drama and it's drama. The drama will take over. So while I was in Guadalajara on the aircraft, ready for my 9:30 p.m. local time departure, it quickly became 9:31, and then 9:35, and then it was 10 o'clock. And I saw lots of activity happen in the cockpit, lots of people wearing the logoed shirts of that particular airline running in and out of the cockpit. There's something wrong here. So after waiting in this aircraft, engines running, air conditioning going, for more than an hour, I began to have this suspicion, I may not be going home tonight. So I called Reverend Susan, who happens to be at Disneyland, just to find out who it is that's doing the service tonight, because at least they have the same topic. And I found out it was Megan Dake Morrell. So I texted Megan Dake Morrell from the aircraft saying, Megan, you better put your sermon in your pocket because you're on tomorrow at 9:30. But every time I hit send, it came back, message failure. Send, message send failure. So then I began to wonder, should I get into I can manipulate the world of effects, and I can cause this aircraft to leave the ground safely. But I thought, do I really want to risk my life that way? So long story short, I'm also thinking my time for sleep is beginning to diminish. So we finally took off. Before we took off, though, actually we were cleared for takeoff, and then I find out that we've used so much fuel while they have to refuel the plane. Now, there's an interesting law in Mexico that an aircraft that is refueled has to be completely devoid of power and energy. So they made us because I was thinking, well, I could at least use this time to catch up on emails and YouTube, whatever is backed up in my log, and text messaging and such. But no, you have to power down your phone, you have to power down your computer, you have to power down your Game Boys, you have to power down your notebooks, your tablets, and they even power down the aircraft. Nothing. Dark. 150 strangers and me in silence. And then I thought of you. Oh my God, this was last month's spiritual practice. Silence. So it began to be a holy moment. Until the lights came on, we taxied, we took off, and I was headed back to Oakland. Now see, when we landed in Oakland, we were now a few hours past my schedule. But I knew something beautiful about the Immigration and Naturalization Service of the United States of America, and that is they always have a line for U.S. residents. See, there's two lines. U.S. residents, the rest of the world. U.S. residents, which means people like me carrying a U.S. passport, we get to zip through. Hello, good to be home. Do you have anything to declare? Yes, God bless America. Stamp, welcome, here you go. And the lines go clip, 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 fast, fast, fast. But because we were so late last night, there were two other aircraft coming behind us, both of which had people like me, probably with schedules too, and they all flooded into the Immigration and Naturalization, which basically became one line, not two. So there were about 300 people in front of me. Now, thank you. Last night I was so in need of commiseration. Where were you? We could have had a pity party unlike any party. We'd have made that 90-year-old Mexican's birthday party look like, yeah. So there were about 300 people ahead of me. And like I said, with the Americans, you know, anything to declare? God bless America. Do you have any fruits or vegetables? Not here. They're in the car. Okay, good. You can go. Instead, visitors have to put their fingers on the screen, first these four, and then this thumb, and then these four, and then this thumb, and then they have to take a picture, and then they're asked, how much money do you have? When are you going home? Can we see your return ticket? Do you have a visa? And there's always snags, always, and they usher those people whom they can't help right in that moment into this waiting area. And here's what was going on inside of me. I have a schedule. Completely devoid of humanity is what was going on with me. I have a schedule. So all this was going on inside my head. In 20 minutes, 20 people had gone through. I was doing the math, and I was, again, beginning to think I was going to text Megan and say, you're doing service tomorrow morning. When I had this revelation, so maybe you've had this happen, when you're most on it, you know, you're on it until you're not. And then when you're not, it's like the heavens have opened up, and sweetness is returned to the earth. So what happened was I thought again of you, and I thought, David, you are an American national carrying a U.S. passport, surrounded by visitors to your country. And your center's spiritual practice this month is hospitality. Yeah, I was like Spirit was saying, walk into this. And for a moment, I was ashamed. I was ashamed by the machinations of my mind. I was ashamed at how I wanted to knock people out of the way because I had a schedule. I was grateful at the same time. I was grateful that I had taken a lesson from Reverend Jane Beach so long ago, when Reverend Jane Beach said to me, David, it doesn't matter what you have to do. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It only matters how you are while you're doing it. See, it doesn't matter how you're managing your divorce. I mean, it doesn't matter that you're getting divorced or not getting divorced, bankrupt or not bankrupt, foreclosure or not foreclosure, kid on drugs or not on drugs. What will really ultimately matter, what matters, is 5 years from now, you will look back on it and you will be proud of how you handled yourself. So while standing in line with those several hundred foreign nationals, I was grateful that at least I had the craziness just inside, that none of it had actually leaked out of my mouth or my eyes. None of it had caused a stench in the room or people to look to see what they stepped in. And then it was suddenly I was the American on a mission. You know, and then suddenly I had church. I had 300 people in line. I wanted to pass the basket. I wanted testimonials. I wanted people like you to do a 5-minute power talk while we're waiting for that nice person with the stamp to give us the stamp. So anyway, there we are. Prison. And then we're suddenly freed from prison. Our theme this month, hospitality, is something that really is distinct from generosity. While standing in line in immigration yesterday, I was thinking, well, what is the distinction? What's the difference between generosity and hospitality? Well, generosity is easy. It's what I give. I can pull money out of my pocket, or I can write a check, or even donate my time. It's something that I give. But hospitality is something that I am. There's a distinction. Even if I never spoke to any of those people around me, my hospitality would have been evident in my eye contact, in my friendly posture and stature, in the way that I was present with whatever was going on. And who doesn't know the experience of having somebody who's not present, who wishes you were out of the way, who sees you as an obstacle? So hospitality is a way of being. And why we're doing that is so that we might have that moment at our choosing, kind of like having Gypsy Soul here when they sing, when they play, where time is altered. And for a moment, we forget whatever's going on in life that isn't working because we're in the presence of holiness. We can do that with hospitality. And I have an assignment for you, should you choose to take it. That is to put into practice the threefold suggestion from our book of the month. Here they are. 3 steps to hospitality. In, without. In, without. Going in. Going in is figurative, but going in is pausing long enough to assess the situation, to realize that you can impact it by how you will be. But pausing long enough to go within and to realize you have inner resources. Our philosophy and faith and way of life has a perspective that is very valuable for me. We can have a direct experience of the thing itself. We can have a direct experience of God, not as person, but as presence. I was worried for a few years that when we had given up the idea of Big Daddy in the sky and the devil, you know, God that looks like Zeus, and its counterpart, the other DC comic counterpart, that when we gave those up, that we're dealing strictly with the use of a cold and calculating law. You know, change your thinking, change your life. Or what I think about, I construct. But it isn't just that. We're also in the presence of a mighty presence. And it's not a person, but it's a presence that knows you intimately. It knows your fears and your feelings and your shame and your hope and your desires. It knows your secrets. And it doesn't judge you for them because that's what person does, but not presence. And we can hardly even wrap our minds around that because we've never really experienced it. Because who really experiences unconditional love? Mostly our love is totally conditional. Totally. I love you when you love me back. I love you when you brush your teeth. I love you when you don't fart next to me in bed. I love you when you agree with me. I love you when you tell me I'm pretty. I love you more when you're 3 pounds lighter. I love you when. But Neale Donald Walsch summarized something for me that I carry in the pocket in my heart right next to Nelson Mandela. He said that Neale Donald Walsch, in one of his many books, one of Conversations or Communion with God books, God wrote, I would not change one thing about you. Be with that. I wouldn't change one thing about you. That to me doesn't give us license to remain stagnant and unaltered, to not be more of what we can be. But that moves us into the presence and the present, toward the future, and not so backward focused, wanting to keep altering our past and what should have happened or shouldn't have happened and how things should have been or shouldn't have been. It opens up a whole realm of possibility, which is what exists like when you're singing and you're playing. It's that altered moment where anything can happen. So that's the in part. With is to just be with it. To be in an aircraft in the dark on the tarmac at Guadalajara Airport in silence. That's with. And then out is how you will show up when you're in the line waiting to have your passport stamped so that you can get in your cab and go home. In without. 3 other illustrations. There's a movie called Craigslist Joe. Not particularly a great film, great content. Craigslist Joe is a story about, a true story, a documentary about a young 20-something-year-old man who wondered what it would be like to live purely on something he could get from Craigslist. And so he set out on an experiment for 31 days, from the 1st of December through the 31st of December. He was going to rely not on his wallet, which he left at home, not on his cash, which he left at home, not on his credit cards, which he left at home, not on friends or family, which he left at home. He's going to rely solely upon what he could get from Craigslist. And so he did. He embarked. And we got to watch, as the viewer, you watch him as he goes from California to Seattle, across the northern United States during a blizzard year, into New York City, and then down to Florida, and then across to New Orleans, Texas, and then the rest of the South, and through California and back, ultimately to San Francisco, where on the 30th of December, 30 days of living solely upon what he could find on Craigslist, he got to meet Craig. And Craig is a real man who lives in San Francisco, who created it not just for a marketplace, but a place for people to have community. And why I'm mentioning that is Craigslist Joe. Joe went in. He went in. This is where I will find. This is where I will find it. We're always advocating that. Go in, but also go out. The with part, so that's in, with. We arrived in Guadalajara on Thursday night, slept a handful of hours, woke up on Friday morning. We stayed, by the way, in my favorite hotel in Mexico. It's in Guadalajara. It's called Quinta Real. It's magnificent. It's stone and brick and rock, and it's just total old world, old school Mexico, where everybody working there wears, all the men, wear coattails, and they have the vests, and they have bow ties and white gloves. It's unbelievable. I just love it. And I love it. Did I tell you? I love this place. I love it. And I love it. And it's cheap. But don't tell them, they'll raise the prices. I love it. And I think Mauricio gets a different rate because of his accent. I'm sure the rates would not be the same if I went in with my 3-year-old Spanish. Now my Spanish is 3 years old. I speak like a 3-year-old. Which is fine when you're dealing with mothers, but it's not fine when you're dealing with the traffic police. But that's a different sermon. So I woke up on Friday morning, and I'm wearing just a T-shirt and some underpants, and I want a cup of coffee. And I'm not going to make coffee in my room because I've learned enough about Mexico not to take the tap water to do that. But I wanted a cup of coffee. And so I put on a pair of sweatpants and flip-flops. So there I am with my hair looking like a troll doll. Not unlike what it looks right now. But my hair's like unintentionally that way, and I have like crust on the corners of my mouth, you know. And because I'm wearing short sleeves, I have for those of you who don't know, I have fully sleeved tattoos, and there I go with my California reusable, recyclable coffee mug to get a cup of coffee. And there's only one place to get it, and that is in this fantastic restaurant, which is completely full at the moment. There is no tables available. But I'm not there to sit. I'm there to get my coffee and to go. So I walk into this dining room completely packed with people, and I give my mug to a man who's kindly gone back to get me some coffee and some Esplenda. And while he's doing that, that's what it's called. There's an E in front of it. Esplenda. I'm not making this up. Do you know, also they have like the big screen TVs that, what do we have, HD, high definition? And I saw one and it said ED. I said, what's that? He said, a standard definition. I said, no, it's not. I am not making that up. So while I'm in this restaurant, just waiting to get my cup of coffee, completely not dressed for it, right? You guys get this? Yeah. Me looking very Oakland. Very San Jose. Way California on the crust, the very crust of the nation. I'm on the crust of the nation. I'm looking like that. In this really amazing upscale Mexican restaurant. And right next to the table at which I was standing is this beautifully dressed 70-something-year-old woman sitting with this beautifully dressed 70-something-year-old man having breakfast. And she looks at me and looks around the room, and then she pats the chair next to her. So she didn't realize that I was not there to stay. But what moved me is she was totally with what is. I mean, she may have all kinds of judgments in her mind. I don't need to know that. What I know is that her behavior was such that she accepted me as I was, present for her in that moment. That was hospitality. That, to me, is what is hospitality. In with, then we've got out. Out is, what will you do? How will you show up now? How will your actions be? What will I do while I'm in the line for immigration and naturalization? KLM Dutch Airlines had a great experiment not too long ago, and I know that they did it for marketing reasons, but I don't care. It's one of the most magnificent experiments I've ever seen. See, KLM decided to do this experiment with social media. When, let's say, Mary checked in for a flight at KLM at one of their flights, if she checked in like on Facebook or Foursquare and said, "Here I am in the such and such airport waiting for my flight to so and so," special KLM Good News agents were monitoring those Facebook and Foursquare pages. They'd say, "Oh, here's Mary." They would quickly look at Mary's public profile, find out a little bit about Mary. Oh, Mary happens to like the color red. So then they would go buy her a gift. Now they bought a gift, not like a car or a house, but something like on carry-on style. The point being this: using social media to bring a smile to someone's face, not just to put a smiley face icon on a computer screen. So, real experience, there was a young woman, she was flying to Germany for a week, and she checked in. They checked and saw her profile. She's rather sports inclined. They thought they bought her one of those Nike bracelets that keeps your heart rate and your blood pressure, and then they went around and they found her. And they said, "Hello, you're checked in for flight such and such. We saw it right here, so you don't think we're freaks or crazy. We saw it right here, and we just wanted to give you a little gift and say thank you for flying KLM." They did this 28 times in 3 weeks. Another thing they did was one of the guys who checked in on an iPad. They found out that he's a sports fan, so they gave him a gift card for 15 euros worth of downloadable sports apps. And they found out an elderly woman who's no longer traveling as much as she used to because she needs a little more room to get around, so they've upgraded her to the more legroom type seats. And doesn't this make you a little bit mushy, even though you know it's a marketing technique? Well, what we found out is that in 3 weeks, those 28 people that received gifts from KLM's little social media experiment generated 1 million tweets. 1 million, and we know because it is documented. Those 28 acts, regardless of the impetus or why, those 28 acts caused 1 million tweets, people talking about acts of generosity. That's why we do hospitality. That's why we do it. Because 1 million people are impacted by your ability to not lash out in line at the Immigration and Naturalization Service. That's why we do it. Then Nelson Mandela is absolutely correct. Because we leave our prisons, and when we don't have resentment or unforgiveness, we're no longer in prison. And that's when our life begins. And it's a good one, and I look forward to seeing what you do with it. Let's pray together. I'm following up on Janamiah's 5-minute insight talk. I'm grateful for this room and this carpet upon which I stand and this piano that's playing on my right. I'm grateful for everyone that keeps this place going. I'm grateful for Mike and Ceci for causing the smell of sausage and bacon and turkey sausage and fried chicken to be in the building. I'm grateful for Will Jameson, who's right now hosting the online community with live streaming, and I'm grateful for any of our live streamers that are listening, and I'm grateful for any ear that's hearing this, whether it's in this room or it's someone who's watching later in an archived video online, or someone who is going to download this onto their MP3 and is listening to my voice right now in the gym. I'm grateful for that aircraft that brought me home last night. And I'm grateful for that woman who patted her chair to invite me to sit with her. I'm grateful for Craigslist Joe and his experiment, and I'm grateful for Craig for creating a list. I'm grateful for KLM, and I'm grateful to the unseen, invisible guest who is the beginning and the end of all of it. So when Celeste and Roman take the stage again, I will be able to hear now with new ears, because I'm hearing with the ears of the presence, present for a future being created intentionally. And that sets the stage for a remarkable and holy season. And that baby who's joining me right now is telling me that I am done, and so it is. I love it. I tell you I'm done and you applaud. Now a smart man would take note. Ushers, come help us out with the sharing of our gifts, our tithes, and our offerings. Guests, in a minute, a basket is going to pass in front of you, but know that ours is a very generous congregation. As our guests, we have no expectation of you whatsoever. Give if you feel called, but only if you're called. Don't take anything out of the basket. For those of you who can see it or who will has it in your bulletin, please say with me our giving affirmation for December. My life is filled with many wonderful people who bring me gifts of joy and happiness. I spread the blessings of this season, for I am a shining star to all who see me, a beacon of hope and peace and prosperity in our world today and the year ahead.
I think we all need to give Rev David a round of applause. That was amazing. River is far older than its name. It carved its channel long before we came. The lips of ancient lovers touch this way. Their embraces etched a new pathway. I look at you and hear you say, is far older than its name. Your shape was formed long before you came. In the seasons of this river's flow, many thousands more will come and go. I look at you and hear you say, yeah, all your ancestors are gone, but in the words you say it with, all their voices linger on. Whoa, and flow like this river, older than its name. Flow like your spirit, here before you came. Flow like this river, older than its name. Flow like your spirit, here before you came. Flow like this river, older than its name. Flow like your spirit, here before you came. Oh, black water, keep on rolling now, Mississippi moon. Won't you keep on shining on old black water? Keep on rolling, Mississippi moon. Won't you keep on shining by the hand till you by. Pretty mama gonna dance with your daddy all night long, like to hear some funky Dixieland. Pretty mama, come and take me by the hand. Thank you.
Inspire me. Do they inspire you? Oh my God. Wow. We love you. And Celeste not only has a magnificent, fabulous voice, but she has some tick hot jewelry for sale. So see her at her table, and they also, of course, have CDs for you today. Today, 12:30 to 2, usher training. Huh? What? Usher what? Now wait. Because usher training is all about hospitality. So it plays right into what Reverend David was talking about today. So if you have this urge to be more of a giver, be an usher, because that's exactly what you do. You greet, you give people hugs, you welcome them into our facility, to our community. So today, if that calls to you, please stay. Tonight, at 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, we have our Sunday night service, and Megan Dake Burrell will be doing the talk, the girl that might have been up here today. She will be talking tonight, and I think she's here, right? There you are. Okay. So also, our food drive continues until December 15th. Tuesday, December 10th, 7 a.m. Yeah, 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Better Business Brown Bag Seminar with Dr. David, and he's going to talk about satisfaction, not to be confused with the Mick Jagger song, I can't get no satisfaction. No. It's about satisfaction. Wednesday, December 11th, 7 to 8 p.m., Practice Makes Permanent, our Wednesday night class, Hospitality to God. And I believe Reverend Tony will be leading that Wednesday night event. Friday, December 13th, Global Heart Choir Concert, yeah! Now, of course, we have many of the choir here today, and also we have, as a part of the concert, some of our own guest artists within the choir that are going to be doing some wonderful solos. And tickets are on sale today, right out in Fellowship Hall. You can also get them online or at the door. Friday, December 13th, 8 to 10 p.m. Saturday, December 14th, Kids Fun Night. Parents, you drop off your kids for a couple of hours. You go shopping, you go to dinner, or whatever. It's a busy life, right? So bring your children here and give yourself a little bit of time, and they'll have fun, and so will you. Sunday, December 15th, 12:30 to 1:30 p.m., we have an educational open house. And Doris Hoffman, I don't know whether you know this, but she is our leader for our education. And she's going to have a display of all the classes that are going to be offered that are coming up. And also, all the instructors are going to be there too. So if you have questions about the classes or anything, they're going to be right there. And you can look at everything, and then you can pick out what you want to do, because it's great. Thursday, December 19th, we have Awaken San Jose, which will be an event led by Dr. David and the ministerial team, and that's from 7 to 10 p.m. December 22nd, St. Nick is going to be here, and he's going to be in the children's wing after second service. So bring your children, bring your grandchildren, niece, nephews, whatever, and let them experience that wonderment of Christmas. December 24th, our candlelighting service. At 7 o'clock, the Global Heart Choir will be singing, and it will be wonderful. Have a blessed holiday. Thank you.
In closing, during first service, a woman asked if she could drop her husband off at the child care day. And actually, the youth department said sure, and they're going to put him to work. So if any of you women want to drop off your men, or if you want to pick up a new one, you might want to. It's like a lending library. I am a minister, and before that, though, and underneath that, I am a licensed Science of Mind practitioner. I am a licensed prayer practitioner. That's what I am first and foremost. And I want to let you know that we have licensed prayer practitioners who offer their time to you every week for free. So if there's something for which you would like prayer, it takes you about 2 to 3 minutes total, and they will be waiting for you under the window area. They have stoles on to identify themselves, and they are the people that will pray with you to make an impact and a shift. Please take advantage of that should you feel desirous. Would you please stand and take the hand of the person on your right and on your left? And know with me that you and I are never alone. The unseen guest is with us right now and always. And the only thing that we will ever need to do is look inside ourselves, because it is there we will find a way in, with, and out for life with a God that knows only good. So joyously, let us make use of these gifts in all that we think and say and do, and so it is. And won't you please repeat after me? I am at home in the heart of God. My life is anchored in truth. I can never be separate. I live in the consciousness of peace. I release all fear. I am living love. And so it is.